Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Let's take a look at Proverbs chapter 13 today. And we are going to look at verse number 7. Verse number 7, Proverbs 13, verse 7. The Bible says, "There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches." Now, before I get into this verse, I want to note that it doesn't say that all who maketh himself rich have nothing, and all that maketh himself poor hath great riches, because that's not what this verse is saying at all, and that's not true. It's not a truth, because there are many people who have rolled up their sleeves and worked hard and was wise with their money and invested wisely, and they made themselves rich, and and serving the Lord and doing great and blessed of the Lord. And then there are those who made horrible decisions and made themselves poor, got addicted to alcohol or drugs, and ruined their lives and wound up homeless, all brought upon themselves. And let me tell you, they do not have great riches. Okay, so it's not saying all, but it is saying that there is, meaning there are those who maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing, and then there are those that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. What does that mean? That means that just because somebody has material possessions doesn't necessarily mean they are rich, as in they have things that are of great value. Sometimes, people who, especially people who are obsessed with getting rich, and they are willing to destroy relationships in order to obtain their riches, they wind up with nothing. And a great example of that is Hollywood. How many Hollywood celebrities do we see who are rich and famous and liked and admired by our culture, by our society, and yet they take their own lives, or they're constantly running to drugs or alcohol because they're just so unhappy. They have everything, and yet they have nothing. It just goes to show that you cannot buy happiness. You just can't. But the second part here, this is the powerful part of this verse. That there is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. Well, first of all, how do you become rich? Well, frankly, I mean, I guess the simplified concept of that is that you invest in something that gives you a high rate of return, right? When you do that, eventually you build wealth and you become rich. Well, how do you make yourself poor? You invest in something that doesn't give you a high rate of return or any return at all. In fact, you invest in something that costs you. That will make you poor, right? This verse is teaching that, there is an investment that may not yield any kind of rate of return. In fact, it might even cost you and make you poor, but in the end, it'll actually give you great riches, maybe not material riches, but great riches. And what is that investment? That investment is in people. It's in people. Sometimes when we invest in people and we invest our time and our efforts and our love and our care and and even our money, sometimes there is no monetary return that we're going to get out of that. But if we do that for the sake of the Lord and for the sake of loving others, then in the end we will have great riches. And listen, that's what God did for us. God invested in us when we had nothing to give back. We should do the same. If we want to be like Christ, we should do the same. We should see, if somebody is in great need and need investment, even if they have nothing to give back to you, invest in them, because souls are precious to the Lord. And again, it's the least we can do, seeing that God invested in us. I'm going to stop right there, and I encourage you today, look for somebody to invest in. Look for somebody to invest in that can't necessarily give you anything back. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.